All right, so we're doing something very different. We're doing a bonus episode. We used to talk about this at work. This is going to be us kind of talking about the whole Will Smith and Chris Rock situation. So I am Chad. Returning is Lemitchel. Hey there, Lemitchel.
Hello.
And for her first time on the show, before she was even on an official episode, we've got Madge here. How you doing, Miss?
Hey, everybody.
Yeah, I like how you're waving. Like people are gonna see that. I love it. I love it.
You never know.
You do. You're right. You never know. I guess let's just jump right into it. Did anybody actually watch the Oscars live, or did somebody text you with a link to the slap heard around the world?
I did not watch it live, but I was on social media while my son was playing. And I was like, what in the world is going on? So I started seeing about, Will Smith smacked Chris Rock. So I had to get into more like what happened. And then I seen like the whole spill about it, the little joke that he made, and then everything. And I was like, oh wow, that's crazy. So then I had to go and tape the Oscars so I could try to watch it today. So that's what happened.
Well, Metro.
No, I was actually in the middle of, well, we were at the New Edition concert in the middle of the New Edition performance, and I was posting pictures from said show on social media when I saw, I actually saw somebody just make a comment um, about what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, to me, context is everything. So I'm like, what? So I didn't really give it a lot of energy because I'm like, long time New Edition fan. But I also needed to know context. And then sure enough, as I looked to scroll, immediately like 3 screen grabs of, you know, Chris Rock's reaction to what happened. It was 3 separate screen grabs that somebody had posted. And so I kind of got the gist then. And then after the concert, we were talking about it. It's like, oh my God, I got an alert. Did you see? Did you see? And so that's when I got the full context after the concert.
So Madge here has a feels personally about the whole reason why this happened. And I guess for anybody that doesn't know what sparked this on, Chris Rock made a off the cuff comment about Jada Pinkett Smith's hair. She showed up to the Oscars with a shaved head, and he referred to her as G.I. Jane. Movie from the 90s. Demi Moore famously shaved her head for the role. She was playing a Navy SEAL, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And, the crowd kind of laughed, but also the people were like, the laughter kind of tempered down there. And Will Smith walked on stage and slapped Chris Rock. And then he said, keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth to Chris Rock. So can you give us a little context about that match?
Okay, so being a woman who has alopecia, number one, I have hair right now. So this is like very unusual. So this is like, ooh, I have long hair. Like this is long to me. My hair actually started growing back in 2019, and it's taken from 2019 to now for it to be this long.
So when were you diagnosed?
So I was diagnosed with alopecia back in 2016.
Okay.
But I've actually struggled with my hair and the condition since I was a kid and didn't know why. And my mother's like, girl, stop that complaining. Ain't nothing wrong with your scalp. That perm just took your hair out, or we did this and we got to switch this. So it was always trying to figure out like what you can do differently for your hair. So before I went to the dermatologist, it was just like little things like my hair would just start falling out, and it would be like you're just brushing it like normal after you showered and washed your hair, and it's just falling out in clumps. Like you don't have to do anything, it's just falling out. And so that would make me sad. So then I would wear hats to work and try to conceal it, or ponytails. But then you would start seeing like this part is like super duper thin because a lot of my part that was falling out was my middle part and like right here. So then
So
my
hold up,
husband,
but we will have some audio listeners. So what part of your head are you touching?
the front part and the middle part started to fall out first.
Okay.
And then my sides started to fall out. So it would be like circles. So you would just see like little circle, and it wouldn't be like all the way bald. It would be like where it would be like a little buzz cut of hair left right there. It wouldn't be all the way bald just yet. And so my husband at the time was like, well, go see a dermatologist and see what's going on. And I struggled with like, I don't know. And I tried a few other products, and then my hair started to grow back. So I got some braids. I got some faux locks, and I was like, ooh, I'm so cute. I got these faux locks. But because my scalp was so sensitive, it literally started to burn my scalp like that night, to where I was like kicking and screaming. And my husband called my sister-in-law and her friend, and they had to come over and like cut them out of my hair.
Oh my.
Like it was, and he said like he never wanted to see me like that again. So I finally said, well, okay, let me go ahead to the dermatologist. By that time, I actually had like real bald spots, like it was like patchy. So I go into the dermatologist and I take off my hat, and she says, oh, you have alopecia. And I was like, I got alopecia. She was like, yeah. And she's like, okay, we're going to go ahead and give you shots in your scalp. I literally sat there, yes, and I sat and I held the chair really, really hard as I got 12 shots all over my scalp on every bald spot. You had to get like 2 or 3 shots. In my alopecia group, somebody had to get like over 40 shots in their scalp before. So I didn't want to go through that anymore. So it's if you want to try to get your hair to grow back, you go get the shots. If you can try other methods as well, but the shots normally work. But I haven't got the shots in probably like 3 years. And so I struggled really with, well, should I wear my hair like this or not? So when I came, I called my husband. He took off work and we went out to eat. And then we discussed cutting my hair off. And that night, he shaved my scalp. He shaved my hair. As he shaved it, my son held my hand as I cried. It was a really, really, really hard thing for me. Because I was like, oh my goodness, like we had just gotten married. I was like, now you have a bald-headed, fat boy looking wife. Like I was just so down on myself. But he was like super supportive. And my son at the time, we had just started high school, was super supportive. And so for me, I was like, okay, well, maybe I can really try to rock my hair. And I did a little bit, but when I would go out more, I would just wear my wigs a little more. And then as I would pick up my son's friends for like school, like events or something, like I would wear my wig or a hat. And he would always ask me why. And I'd be like, well, I don't want to embarrass you and have them talk about you because your mom is bald headed. They don't understand why I'm bald headed. They just think that I'm bald headed. And he would be like, oh no, I can defend you. So as far as a person with alopecia and your family dealing with it, it's a lot on them as well as it is on you. So I felt like, okay, well, I see where Will Smith is coming from, because I'm sure he's had to wipe his wife's tears and actually had to come out publicly as a famous person and say, this is what I had, which I appreciated her for that. And Ricky Lake also came out and said that she had alopecia probably a little while before Jada did. It's a really hard thing to deal with, especially as a woman. I will say, I think the summer before last, no, 2019, I saw a little girl at Six Flags, and she's just bald. And I don't know if it was because of alopecia or because of cancer, but she was rocking her scalp, but she had the little bedazzled. And I saw such strength in this little girl. And I was like, well, if she could do it, and she's out of Six Flags and she's smiling and happy with these bedazzled on her scalp, like I could be strong and do it too. So I actually started rocking my hair more and everything. And I've had the greatest friends that were like, oh girl, you look good, let's take pictures, we could dye it. In the meantime, I also struggled with getting a barber. So it's like, well, I had a barber, but then I was like, they make me look like a guy, I'm gonna go to a girl. So you also struggle with that, because then they do like the black stuff around. I was like, I hate that stuff. I don't want that. So it was just a lot as a female dealing with hair loss. And I had never heard of alopecia before. But in the support group, it's all type of people with alopecia, and we all support each other. So I understood when Chris Rock made that joke, I didn't think it was that bad, but I understood why Jada was so upset, because she was like, everybody's laughing at my expense. Heck, right. Even her husband, I feel like you maybe should have slapped your husband. He said to laugh with everybody else with the dang gun joke. He deserved
So I do want to jump in real quick.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. And thank you for sharing that. So Jada Pinkett Smith revealed that she had alopecia in 2018.
Yeah.
And it's something that she regularly talks about on her social media. But I will admit, me personally, until this entire incident happened, I was unaware that she had alopecia.
Well, and so was I. I wasn't aware either. And I think, it's great that she talks about it on her social media and on her Red Table Talk and those things. But here's something that a lot of people keep forgetting. And as much as social media is a part of our lives now, and as much as people love to put themselves out there on social media, everybody still doesn't know everything about everybody.
Right.
And, I was, back in the day, I was a Jada Pinkett fan. Like, I had a little crush on her. Like, I love Jada Pinkett, back in the day, Jada Pinkett Smith. And I like Will Smith a lot. So, but those aren't people I follow enough to, I don't really put that much energy into them. So like you, when I saw the Chris Rock, when I, got the context and went back, and because of course I went back researching, and because I need to know, like, what the heck is all of this about, especially with Will Smith, because the first thing you see online, I saw online was it staged? Is it fake? Then, too, with so many things in the last 2 years, at least last 2 years, that Will and Jada and their family have been putting out there, coincidentally, when they've had projects and stuff coming out, like, you do kind of wonder, okay, was this staged? Is this a whole thing? But as you get into it more, staged or not, when the reason, and it didn't take me long to get all this content, believe me, we were, researching right there in the car and everything. But what I don't get, well, first of all, I will say I didn't know anything about alopecia until I was in college, and actually my senior year in college. So the last year I was about to graduate, and for people, just for context of that, I was what they considered a non-traditional adult student. So I went to college at 36 and got my degree at 26 and got my degree at 30. So imagine me never hearing anything, or a person never ever hearing the word alopecia until, you're 30 years old. Because there was a friend of mine in college who told us that she had alopecia. She used to wear wigs, and nobody really cared about her wigs or anything. But I think for whatever reason, one day, I don't know if she experienced something outside of our friend group or whatever, she decided to divulge this information to us. And we were like, okay. And I'm like, what is that? Like, so with that being said, I don't get how in 2022, especially, women can rock so many different hairstyles, including being bald to, where they have a little hair, or completely bald. Women rock that. So what I don't get is twofold. Me, Lemitchel, doesn't understand is, one, why are we still making jokes about it? I don't get that about, women being bald.
Right.
I don't get that.
And G.I. Jane at that movie's 30 years old. What?
Well, he said G.I. Jane.
I thought she was a badass in the movie. So I was like,
right. Well, and but that leads to my other thing I don't get. The other side of that I don't understand is, alopecia aside, how's anybody offended by that? Because what I took the joke as was the same as what you said. Okay, I didn't see the movie, but I saw the clips at the time, and that chick was bad. Yeah, she was a badass in that movie. Jada Pinkett Smith is synonymous with being a badass woman. Like, nobody has ever thought Jada Pinkett Smith was a weak woman. No offense to, that, ideology or whatever, but you hear Jada Pinkett Smith and you immediately think that she's a strong woman. Yeah.
Think the Matrix and all that. She got big for the Matrix, not big, but she got fit for the Matrix, and she never dropped that muscle.
But she also looks good with her bald head.
She really does.
She does. Have you seen these? So I don't understand legitimately why we're still making jokes about women wearing bald hairstyles, bald head styles, and why people are still being offended, alopecia or what, cancer aside. I don't get that. Now, with that being said, also, people who know me, know my hair is I love my hair. I love my hair. And so one of the things, a different kind of semi-related argument that I have is, people make hair loss for women a much bigger deal than hair loss for people. And I can tell you, if you lose your hair, I don't care if you're a woman or a man, to lose, it's one thing to cut your hair off.
Yeah.
It's another thing to lose it.
Really
and that plays with people's psyche, and it plays with your self-esteem, woman or man, just to lose it. And I have heard people tell people, oh, but you look good. Oh, just cut it off. It doesn't matter, woman or man. I've heard that. And the emotional part to, also address, how you felt, going through what you went through. First of all, I love that you had your husband, like the way your husband and son supported you when you told your story. Like, I was sitting here listening to, like, man, that was like, she had a cold support system with that.
I really did.
Yeah, because I do understand, for any listeners, I don't want anybody to think that I don't get the emotion. I do, because I started thinning at the top, and I've always had, when I was younger, my hair was long, it was all, it's curly, so I always had this big curly goofy ponytail.
Over here looking like El DeBarge.
I mean, you know what? Stop that, because I used to get that when I was thin and skinny and young and spry. But but what's so funny is, and actually somebody at the job still to this day calls me that on social media when she addresses me.
I'm gonna start calling you El. Hey,
I'm gonna need you to not do that. I'm gonna need you to not do that. We just met. We can't do that yet. we just met. We can't do that yet. I'm kidding. But so I get the emotion. I get the emotion behind hair loss. Because when I started to thin and my hair was falling out, and it still comes out, but it actually started coming out a lot. And I couldn't figure out why. There was even a point where I lost my eyebrows. Like,
yeah.
So I don't know what was happening to me at that point, but I was thankful when my eyebrows grew back and my hair grew back. But even now, it's still a little bit thinner on top than everywhere else, and then it used to be, but it still has come back. So having said all of that, though, this whole thing for me, I'm when you asked me about doing the show, and I think earlier when we were talking, and I said I don't really know how I feel about the whole thing yet. I really don't, because I'm so conflicted in my feelings, because so much of this to me, so many facets of this for me is not a big deal. The alopecia aside, and the health issue aside, because I get that, but just in general, overall, everybody knows the Oscars host is always going to make a joke, even if it's not a comedian. If whoever is hosting the Oscars, but they're going to have jokes. Everybody knows that comedians tell jokes aimed at other people, especially those in the audience and celebrities in general, whether they're not. It's the Oscars. Everybody knows this. And so to have that joke been told, and then have this situation happen, like, I just don't know how I feel about it. And I'm not trying to overdrive the conversation, but I wanted to say this because I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on this. So my best friend posted on her one of her social medias, and I'm just going to paraphrase what she said. At one point she was a comedian, and she talked about on her page how Will Smith was able to do that because there was a friend type, he was able to get that close to do that because this was somebody who was supposed to be his friend. Because had this not been somebody that close to him, he wouldn't have been able to get to him to swing on him or to slap him like that, right?
Right.
And so that also, to me, made me think, like, how much of that was a joke at her expense based on information that he had about them from their friendship, or how deep was their friendship, in general.
I don't think their friendship was that deep. And they said Chris Rock said that he honestly didn't know that she had alopecia.
Oh, and I believe that, right?
Yeah, I was going to jump in and say that.
For me, even with him saying that, I still don't think that he deserved to get slapped. I think it should have been, I could walk up there and say, hey, my wife has alopecia. Don't talk about her like that. You could have said that at that moment. But to walk up and just open slap somebody and then walk on off and then say what you said when you sat down, like, you could have said that to his face, like, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. I would have said that to your face versus all the way at my seat yelling it across the crowd. Like, I just think that was a little bit of a punk move. Like, for me, that's just what you should have used it as a learning tool, because it still overshadowed of everybody's talking about Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, not the reason why. So people still aren't getting educated on alopecia. So I just think that it's just unfortunate that Will took himself out of his character to do that. I think it's great that Chris Rock showed great restraint on national TV of not slapping him back and being two black fools on the Oscars so white, fighting.
Not this year.
Not this year, but I mean,
but that's a whole nother thing. If you want to quickly dip into Oscar So White, because a few years ago when they were pushing that Oscar So White campaign and Jada Pinkett Smith boycotted the Oscars, Chris Rock dumped on her once more, saying, it was real nice that you boycotting something you weren't even invited to. I'm paraphrasing that joke. That is not. That's not what he said.
It went back around. That's not what he said. Back around today. Believe me.
That's a cleaner version of what he said.
Yeah, but when comedians do their acts and they write down their stuff, they use stuff that they know about, stuff that they heard. So if she just said that and it was on TV and everybody was talking about it, of course I'm going to put it in my act and put it on TV. Like you were just talking about it on TV. I'm trying to get more views and more likes. So I would have used it too.
Here's a question I have for you too. What is a joke, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like we are living in a time where I'm not gonna say people are more sensitive, because that's not the thing. People have a voice that can be heard better now. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say like people get offended more. People feel more comfortable enough to say, hey, that what was said to me, that's not okay. And so we hear that more.
So I think, again, Lemitchel thinks, I'm going to say that a lot. So we do have to call to attention comedians and jokes from, in one
time period
race differs from another race. Black
race. Okay.
Yeah. Black people joke very differently. And there was actually a comedian, I don't know what I'd have to research and find who it was, who actually addressed that. Like, Black people joke very differently than white people and other, racial and other groups. I grew up, the high school I went to, I have said this, I lived a lot of places in the United States, and I have said this, and I'm going to continue to say this, and I'm going to respectfully or disrespectfully challenge anyone who says anything different. But everywhere I've been, I have never encountered anybody who was as cold with the clapbacks and the your mama jokes and all of that as the people I went to school with in the 90s. I'm here to tell you, I have never met anybody who was cold with the way Black people jokes. Nobody is better at it than the people I went to school with at that time. And some of them are still good at it. So having said that, we joke differently. So you ask, what are jokes? To me, like I said, what Chris Rock said necessarily wasn't a bad thing. It wasn't even really a funny joke. But and if you listen to it, he went past it. He went through it really quickly.
I mean, but he also read the room. Like the room wasn't feeling that joke.
Right. And I get that. So of course that just kind of, he said it went over, went past, whatever. So because normally, if he got a laugh, he probably would have stayed on there, right? But he didn't. He moved past that. I don't know if we can definitively answer the question, what is a joke? Because I think that anything that makes somebody laugh can be a joke. Now, if it's at someone else's expense,
which a lot of jokes are, especially in the Black community.
And I can only speak for that because obviously I'm Black.
Wait, you're Black?
Yes.
Twice.
But when you tell a joke at somebody else's expense, it doesn't make it less funny to somebody. It just, I think nowadays people are so much more aware of, their feelings, and they're much more, and you said this earlier, but I don't remember exactly how you said it, but we're so much more aware, we're so much more stronger today to speak out when something bothers.
Right. Like, because it's not so much people are more sensitive now, is we have a voice now.
Right.
We have a platform now.
So what is a joke to me is, I mean, I don't really know how to answer that question because I mean, I go to comedian shows all the time. I laugh at that stuff. It's funny to me. So it's something that you can relate to that's like super funny. So that's just that's just how I'm gonna say it. Relatable, funny, with a great punchline.
Okay, so I guess more what I'm trying to ask is the G.I. Jane joke. You guys both kind of lean towards if you felt it was kind of funny, or no?
I didn't think it was really funny. I just thought it was like a joke. Like, oh, you could have did a little better, Chris. But I don't think it was an offensive. Like, I have alopecia, so I don't feel like it was an offensive joke for me if I was sitting there in the crowd.
Right, but okay, I get you.
And I mean, yeah, I don't think it was funny. It was a dud. Like it failed.
Rotten Tomatoes at
right. But
I mean, but then
so
like you could also, but you also saw like in the video clip, like Jada, she didn't think that was cute, and so that's kind of,
and that's where I have personally, one of the issues that I have is because the joke was about you, and you didn't find it funny, so now, and I struggle with this because believe me, I've been the butt of many people's jokes, too many times in my life. But and sometimes, you take that hell. There have been some times where I was like, okay, that's funny. Like, you gotta laugh sometimes at some stuff that people say about you when they're joking. I don't know. I just think that was a comedian telling a bad joke. And, should he have addressed it? Because part of my struggle too with this particular part also is because of the socials are just so abuzz with people's opinions about this. And of course,
yes,
what are we doing right now, right?
Right, exactly. And so one of the things that people are talking about, or one of the topics that keeps coming up is, of course, that Jada Will got up. He only did that because Jada was upset. And so, yeah, he should have defended his woman right then. And I heard, people have said, no, where you show out is where we're going to show out together. I'm going to handle it right then. You know what? I don't know. This is just a different situation. And there are too many other things around the Oscars for that type of thought process. Because normally I'm with that. But this, we just came off the Oscars. So why this, if I'm not mistaken, and I have to go into it more. I believe there was a lot of this show was produced. Yeah, I think was produced by a person of color. Like there was a lot of Blackness in this show, like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And so for this to be the time where these two Black actors / comedians do what they do, it's kind of like, okay, part of me thinks, yeah, y'all could have done that later on, or a different way, or a different time. You could have slapped the hell out of him after, during the commercial break or something. Or, do I feel like, well, listen, it is what it is. He had to handle it, defend his wife. But a lot of people think that he only did that because, Jada is pulling his strings. The other problem I have is because I had to actually I had a small discussion with a friend of mine today, because they keep posting these memes about, why he didn't slap August Alsina and why he didn't slap I'm like, first of all, I really wish y'all would stop putting so much energy into this particular meme, because people are just commenting like, yeah.
But who's to say? But also, who's to say he didn't? That's
my point. That was my point with him, because what happened with Chris and Will right now happened live in real time, in front of in a live broadcast in real time, where everybody can see that. First of all, the August thing, Will found out after the fact.
He knew.
According to okay. Let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Well, I don't know. Well, here's the thing: when the public found out about it and how they addressed it, yeah, he probably knew obviously he knew before the public knew, but we don't know if he knew how soon he knew when it was happening. So what my point to them is y'all do not know how that man handled that other man.
Right.
He probably did drag him all. Like, we don't know that because that happened. Whatever happened for that situation happened in private. And
I need
then,
a song about it, like the Entanglement song. I need a song
right.
about it.
And then the public found out about it. But we
Right.
don't know because guess what? Guess who we haven't heard from? Too much.
We ain't heard from him in a minute.
So, hey, he probably got told, keep my wife's name out your mouth. What, we don't know. And so that was my point for that. It was telling him is like, man, y'all gotta, because all his, the friends are coming, dude, y'all gotta stop putting so much energy into that particularly because you don't know. You were not there. Nobody was there to know how he handled August Alsina.
Very true. Now I seen online, and it was on a guy, a guy reposted it, and a female said, it was Jada's fault, that Jada should not have embarrassed Will. She should have worn a wig.
What?
Now, I get exactly. I said, now that lady.
Oh, y'all can't see my face. Hold on, let me do an audible.
That is the most disrespectful, craziest stuff I have ever heard. Like, why would you say that she embarrassed? Will has accepted his wife's beyond measure of her beautiful glory of baldness. And
they've worked through marital issues publicly.
Yeah, I was like, come on. Like, you're trying to put it on her because you think that she should have wore a wig. No.
But again, how is
all of her true self? Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off like that. I really am. But how is a woman rocking a bald style and embarrassed? I don't understand that.
Because the culture has it so much where now it's a lot of lovely people who wear locks, lots of lovely people who wear locks, but you still have so many who rock the weaves, and I ain't dogging the weaves by any means necessary, but so many people feel like you aren't in unless you're wearing your 22-inch long weave and you gotta have that thing.
Like, can I ask you guys a question that I know the answer to? I remember a couple of years back, somebody made a documentary called Good Hair. Can you guys remind me who that was?
That was Chris Rock.
That can't be the same Chris Rock that made a joke about a black woman's hair, right?
You know what? That is the same Chris Rock, but you know what I think? I just really thought that he was trying to say Jada was the badass. Like, G.I. was a badass in that movie. So you telling me I look good with this bald head and I could be a badass woman? That's how I really initially took it.
That's which is why I still struggle with why is society still up in arms about a woman rocking the bald head. Because I'm going to say personally, one of my favorite things about women, especially women of color, because they really do it so well. But women in general is how women can switch up hairs. Like, I love to see a woman rocking it. I mean, you come in here with a bald fade one day and then rocking a weave or a lock. Man, come on. Like, you got that kind of versatility. And so if she wants to be bald today and look good doing it, okay. Well, even if she doesn't look good doing it, she still might want to be bald today. I don't get why, again, the medical issues aside, I just don't understand why to the point of, not the point, but to address what you said that you saw somebody share that post. What I don't understand why that is an embarrassment. How was that an embarrassment? That lady was glowing that night.
Right.
She really was. She looked beautiful. Now I will say, now if we walking around here smacking people, because Will Smith made it okay for us to smack people, I owe the lady at the dentist office a smack. I went to the dentist office last week. So right now I'm sitting at Chad's desk. We chilling, me, him, and Matt. We having our little conversation. So this lady that she's a new lady at the dentist office. She calls, she comes out, she says, Madge. So I get up and I walk. And as I'm walking, she calls my name again. And I'm like, she says, oh, did you hear what I said? And I said, yes, ma'am, I heard you. And she says, you're Madge? And I was like, yeah. So we get to the back, she's cleaning my teeth. And as she's cleaning my teeth, she said, when you got up, I wasn't really looking for you. And I stopped her and I said, oh, you were looking for an older white woman. And she said, well, I'm sorry to say it, but that is what I was looking for. Now, my name is very old. I'm named after my great grandmother. But lady, that ain't what you're supposed to say to me. So I should go back to the dentist office and smack the shit out of that lady because she was tripping. Smack. She deserved a smack because that was crazy. She straight was looking for a white woman. She wasn't looking for me.
I guess since you brought it up, like, so why don't we kind of tackle the race element of this whole situation?
I feel like if it was a Caucasian comedian, even if it was a woman comedian, even if it was a LGBTQ person comedian, and they made that same joke, I feel like Will Smith would not have stumped up on that stage and smacked him. But I feel like because it was a black male, a smaller black male, that he felt comfortable enough to let me smack you.
Well, and that's part of it. I agree with you on that part, but that also is why I loved what my friend posted when she said he was able to get that close to him because of their whatever level of friendship they have. Like they have, some kind of interaction.
I would think
before.
that they go in the same, they travel in the same circles.
Right. So he was able to get to him because of a familiarity. And so
if it was Ricky Gervais up there cutting up, maybe not.
I agree. I don't think that he would have done what he did to another comedian.
Say security wasn't even tripping. They wasn't even out there like, wait a minute, what's going on?
Yeah. I mean, is security really popping hard at the Oscars? I mean, outside making sure like normal people don't get in, but I would think that it's a little loose inside.
Well, some of the reports talked about just like Chris Rock's team, like people around him. So
I see.
Or, because I'm pretty sure most of them, especially the big names, have some kind of people around them. So the fact that, nobody from Chris Rock's team jumped out or got out in front of the situation is probably what the compliment or the comment is toward.
So I guess the real question is, how far did this set us back, guys?
It set us back a great deal, I feel like. I feel like it really did. It could have been worse if Chris had pressed charges and also if Chris had to retaliate and smack them back or something. It could have been super duper catastrophic worse.
But also Will could have punched him, but he slapped him. So that level, that's a lower level, right?
I mean, but so when you say how far did this set us back, like in what?
Okay, so we've mentioned Oscars So White a few times tonight. And so we were like,
and I guess because when you say that, like, it wasn't necessarily a rhetorical question. I mean, like, are you asking how far did it set us back in regard to the Oscars? How far did it set us back in regard to, this Black unity that we're, experiencing, this wave of Black, unity in 2022? Like, this male on, this Black man bond that we're trying to build. Like, I mean, I asked that, I guess, semi-rhetorically because, there were so many different facets at play.
Yes, there were.
Well, before we go to how far it set us back, Chad, I gotta veer off for a second. Because as a woman this week, you want me to feel protected and for the man to protect me. Last week, you wanted me to be in the background and be okay that the transgender swimmer beat me. Make it make sense and make me understand where exactly you want me to be in each scenario. You want me to be in the background? You want me to be proud of myself? Like, what do you really want? America or world? Because that is, I just feel like it's just so flip-flop. We flip-flop. Each week it's, well, I want you to feel protected and I want you to know that I'm here for you. Last week it was, you good, but she is better. And so, it's like,
here's the thing though, like this kind of goes with one of you guys made a comment about social media, right? It's like we only care about a subject until the next big thing happens, right?
Right.
And so even you, Madge, earlier today, you sent me a meme, like the calendar of like, here's the meme of the month.
Oh yeah.
And like you showed, and it had like a guy, the naked guy that ran on the football field in January
was Antonio Brown.
And like I forgot all about that. And that happened 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So it's like last week was the issue you just brought up. This week is Will and Chris. Who knows what insanity is going to happen next week? Like that's our society now, right? Like, and also at the end of the day, the people that are thumping their chest the loudest about this and making and passing memes, they don't care. There are so many people that don't care about this or any of this stuff.
That's
like everything's just a joke. Yeah. And so to answer my own question, how far is this going to set us back? This actually will have repercussions, I feel like.
You will.
We have talked so much about like we just want an equal place at the table, in just in this specific realm, like award shows, Academy Awards, right? Like, how long has it taken Will Smith to finally get that Oscar? Like,
Right.
so many people of color won awards last night. We're like,
Yep.
we are making this content. Why are you not recognizing it? And now they're like, okay, well, when we get too many y'all up in here, this is how y'all act.
And then the fact that Will Smith did this on the night that he got that Oscar, as opposed to another Black actor doing it who, is just there or didn't win that award. But
I mean, the whole situation tarnished Questlove's win.
It sure did.
Yeah.
He won right after that.
It tarnished Will Smith's win.
No, what I want to say is like Questlove won, and they do a little interview after you, like immediately after you get your award, and they like, so about Will Smith, what about what I'm here for?
Yeah.
So
that was just, that's why I said, so there's so many facets at play into why this is so bad. Like, there are so many facets.
And then what I thought about after all of this? You know how much money Mark Zuckerberg made today after all of them algorithms and stuff he was posting all dang on day, all them dang on memes. That man made some good money off of that.
Yes,
because he just kept on talking and posting and talking.
So what you're saying is we should get our memes off Twitter and TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm going back to Black Planet. I'm about to make Black Planet a thing.
Is that still
is that still a site?
I'm tired of Facebook putting me in Facebook jail for.
I want to go back to MySpace. You can put music.
That's it. My
good old Tom.
Yeah, Tom. Right. Tom is my friend.
All right, so we've been going for a little over 40 minutes. Let's close this out. So, final thoughts. What are your opinions? Was anybody right in this situation? I'm not gonna say was Will right, was Chris right? Was anybody right?
No, both of them were wrong.
Yeah, it's like,
there's enough wrong to go around.
Right. I mean,
because you know what? Chris reads his jokes off to somebody in his team. Ain't mean to tell me somebody in your team didn't know that girl had alopecia.
That joke, it genuinely felt like he said that off the cuff. Like he looked at her, like to me, just speaking for myself, when I saw that scene, that clip, like the entire clip, he was doing his little King Richard joke, which it felt like was written because it felt a little corny. Because when you do jokes at those award shows, it has to go through that filter, right? It felt rehearsed. But then when he made that G.I. Jane comment, that felt like just like he looked at Jada, that popped in his head, he said it, he didn't get anything. All right, so anyway, this next award,
no, that's true. It did feel like that. Again, I will say, like, again, for the perspective of someone having alopecia, it really does suck. And like Lemitchel said, even as a man who has it, because I have a guy friend who has it, and he loved his hair, and he cried on the phone to me. He's like, "Oh, my hair is gone, and I'm bald headed now, but I got my beard in, so I'm handsome. But I miss my hair." But so it definitely does suck, and it definitely does play on your psyche, and but nobody deserves to be assaulted at the end of the day. I feel, as a woman, I feel protected with my husband standing up for me and just talking to somebody. Because I would look at him crazy if he's like, "Why are you slapping people?" Like, dude, we are such and such age. Let's get it together. Like, we are too grown to be just around here just open palming people. Like, pop, come on now. Like, use your words.
Like, isn't Will in his 50s by this point?
Use your words. We need to be doing the same thing. So that's just
isn't Will in his 50s by this point?
I think so, yes.
Oh, yeah.
He a handsome 50, but yeah, he in his 50s.
He's a handsome 50. But no, like, I'm with you guys. It's like, I don't really agree with like slapping people, like putting your hands on somebody, male or female. I'm not down with any of that.
I am a strong advocate for keep your hands to yourself, because if you hit me, I'm gonna hit you back. I'm sorry, because I have said this. I'm gonna continue to say it. People are people, and I know you want to close this, so this is it for me. But people are human before we are man, or woman. I don't care how much you say I'm a woman, I'm a man. You are a human first. There are so many more things we have about our makeup that is the same mentally, physically, emotionally. We have the same things when it comes to that. We are human first. And if you hit somebody, you better be prepared to get hit back. I don't care who it is, because a human's natural reaction to being hit is to hit you back. That is a natural reflex. So if you hit somebody, you better be prepared to be hit back. Number one. But don't put your hands on nobody. Period. Like, why? What is the point for that? So I have strong feelings. My therapist and I will be talking about certain things because that's a trick. Those are triggers for me. So
I got you.
I really just feel like Will could have done better, and I'm glad that Chris held his restraint. And I think Jada was very beautiful last night. Very, very, very beautiful.
I agree with that.
Hair or no hair, she looked stunning. So.
I agree with that. Like, yeah. So yeah, sum up just my points. I agree with you guys. Like, let's not hit people. I didn't really think about him making a G.I. Jane joke as like she was a strong woman. I didn't read into the joke like that. But like talking to you guys, I see that perspective. But at the end of the day, it was a joke targeted. It was a joke at her expense, and she didn't see it that way.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. But yeah, I genuinely would thank you guys for hopping on and talking about this with me. And once more, thank you so much for sharing your personal experience with this, Madge. Thank you for that.
No problem.
Yeah. So yeah,
Lemitchel, it was nice seeing you again, even though I didn't remember at first.
Even though I don't know who the hell you are.
I know, I don't remember either. He kept trying to give me a room. I'm like, and I thought I would recognize your face, but I will tell you, working there, I did. I mean, I just used to walk around, but I didn't really talk to people too much.
I understand.
But yeah, if you want to
everybody, so it's like, wow.
If you want to hear more from Madge, maybe not about this topic, look out for episode 50 of our podcast, which will be airing soon. Yeah, we'll just say that. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for listening, everybody.